Hey everybody, it's Michael with Lynx Defense. I'm here with Harrison with Harry's Holsters. Today we're going to ask a few questions. And first and foremost, how did you get into firearms?
Well, ever since I was a little kid, I used to love Westerns. When I was like 3, 4 years old, I'd watch like The Lone Ranger, the Gene Autry show, Roy Rogers show. And there were a lot of guns, a lot of, those were the back in the days where they'd shoot all the bullets in the world, none of the bad guys would die and all that stuff. But I love guns. I always thought a good guy would carry a gun to do good things, and a bad guy would carry a gun to do bad things. And it was just a tool. That's all it was. So I started getting interested in history, and it's hard to be interested in history, at least like warfare and things like that, without learning about firearms, American history especially, and I really have always been captivated by the Old West.
Now I know a little bit about you because we've known each other for a while. And when you say you watch Westerns, what I really know you meant is you read Western novels.
I watch a lot of Westerns too. I like reading the novels.
So you do both?
Yeah.
All right.
Louis L'Amour, I love that kind of stuff.
Okay. So obviously you have a company called Harry's Holsters. Tell us a little bit about your company and how you got it started.
Well, I used to work in real estate, and I used to have to wear a suit to work every day. Or if I didn't wear a suit, slacks, dress shirt. Very restricted for carrying a gun. I was actually, at the time, I was using Smart Carry, and anybody who's ever used Smart Carry knows that it's like wearing a diaper. It's really weird. There's a lot of issues with it kind of riding up above your belt line and looking like you are wearing a diaper. And I was my early 20s. I'm still in my early 20s, but I was very early 20s at the time. And I didn't want to look like I was wearing a diaper. So
it's understandable.
Yeah, I knew there was a better solution out there, and I started Harry's Holsters to find that. And I actually did find it with the Infiltrator model, but that was more somebody of my build type. But it is a great option for carrying in a work environment with the right firearm. I mean, I've just had a lot of issues with access. With the Smart Carry, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this out fast enough unless it's an active shooter situation. You're hunkered down in an office waiting for somebody to come, which was somewhat realistic with the emails and such we would get of spouses. We get warnings, if you see this person in the office, call the police right away because they have a restraining order. A lot of different types of people work in a real estate office.
Understandable. Obviously, with the news that came out of SHOT Show, some of the anti-gun press, some of the things that were in the media, what does the Second Amendment mean to you? I think a lot of companies, for some reason now have to, even in the industry, have to explain they're on the side of the Second Amendment. So go ahead and make your case.
The Second Amendment to me is, people are going to call me crazy for this. It is the citizens having more power than the government. And that sounds crazy, but you're in law enforcement. There's a certain disconnect that the U.S. has that other countries doesn't between local law enforcement and people at the federal level. And that gives us a lot of power because the federal level, if they want to enforce something, they have to get the local guys to go along. So that's just kind of from a law enforcement perspective, but also with the citizens. If you guys get completely out of hand and go freaking crazy at the local or federal level as government, you're going to be in trouble when you have a bunch of citizens with guns. And that sounds cliche, and I get people saying, no, these guys aren't going to take on the government. There's nothing you can do to fight the government. The reality is, if there's a problem big enough to justify using the Second Amendment to stop the government as more than just a threat, there's not going to be just a couple guys fighting against it. There is going to be 10, 15, 20% of the population rising up. And that's why we've got to fight for our rights. We can't let anything slide, because they can win if they take our rights one little piece at a time. But if they know they can't try to take it all at once, and that's what the Second Amendment is. Right. So we have to, capacity bans, anything like that, you have to fight that tooth and nail.
And people say you can't beat the government. They were probably saying that in 1776 too.
Yeah. Great Britain was the freaking United Kingdom, Great Britain, England, whatever you want to call them. They were the largest government in the world at that time.
They were the world power.
Yeah.
Just like we are now.
Yeah.
And they got toppled by apparently people with pitchforks and muskets.
Yeah. Power's with the people, and the Second Amendment allows that to happen. And the First Amendment is the First Amendment because it is your first choice. The Second Amendment is the Second Amendment because when the first fails, you go to the Second Amendment to support your rights, to uphold your rights.